Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Decipher Wars Radio. This is episode number 19, even though we've been off for a couple of days. I'm your host, Mark Tuttle. Here we are, folks. We are, as of right now, exactly 50 days away from the release of the first expansion for Wars TCG, titled Nowhere to Hide. Now, Nowhere to Hide is going to be a 165-card set. Gives all the factions a little love. In fact, each faction is going to get about 24 new cards. Plus, we'll have new locations, new independent stuff, a couple of new mechanics in there as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a couple of moments. But hard to believe we're in a position already where we're once again counting down to a set full of new cards. Kind of seems like we were just there, really. The storyline for Nowhere to Hide, a lot of people are really wrapped up in the storyline of the game. It involves everyone pretty much seeking out the resource Triginium. Now, the Ganjin have a new Nobot, new class of warriors that will defend their Triginium from the Quay. James Howler and his long-range legions are fighting off a Ganjin attack, while the Shi attack the Mavericks outright. While their backs are turned, the Quay launch an all-out assault on their hated enemy, the Shi. So there's lots of good stuff storyline-wise happening in Nowhere to Hide, plus lots of good gameplay. And again, we're going to talk about specific gameplay and specific cards coming up in just a couple of moments. Some quick news of the week. The Wars Tour wrap-up. We still have a couple of guys out on the road, but I came in this week for my Wars Tour. I started in Boston, went through Connecticut, New York, Pittsburgh, Central Ohio, met lots of great people, had lots of fun. I did okay, I suppose, is the best way to put that. I certainly didn't win every game, but I didn't lose every game either, but had a lot of fun doing it. I found I drafted a lot of Quay because nobody else at the table was drafting Quay. I mean, when somebody passes 8 life ships to you, I'm going to take those, because in booster draft play, you don't have to follow the rule of 4. You can have as many copies of a card in your deck as you want. So, won a couple games, lost a couple games, had a lot of fun. Met lots of great people, including the guys behind the Essential Wars website, which is very quickly becoming the number one place to go for Wars fan fiction. Also the guys who do the webcomic Forfeit Zero. In fact, my shellacking of Mike is the subject of this week's strip on Forfeit Zero, so check it out. I'll give you the address here. It's forfeitzero.keenspace.com. So check that out, folks. It's actually pretty funny. Actually hanging on my wall right now because it was good stuff. All right, news of the week real quick. One of the things that we passed out on the tour were those really super cool faction pins for Wars TCG. If you couldn't make it on the tour or you didn't win one at a tour stop, you can now get it yourself by visiting our online store at decipherstore.fanhq.com and purchase the pins yourself. You can get all of them for $20 or $5 each. We've got one for each faction. They're metal pins, very, very cool stuff, and those should be on the site as we talk right now. Best thing is you can use your Decipher fan dollars to purchase these, so if you've been playing in tournaments, you're building up fan dollars, you can turn those right around and purchase these pins, or if you're a member of the Fan HQ, you also get a 10% discount. So not too bad there. All right. Interview of the week. This gentleman, have you been on Wars Radio before?
I think I have.
You think you have?
Yeah, we've discussed Wars Draft before you went out on your tour.
Right. That's right. You did. And you know what? What you said helped.
Well, I don't know if I would draft all 9 life ships, but I'm sure you put them to good use.
I did. Actually, I had a player who pretty much got up and walked away from the table yelling at people that drafted with me saying, who kept passing him the life ships?
And you didn't have any problems on the ground at all?
Well, a little bit, yeah, I did. That's right. Quite frankly. Anyways, game designer Mike Gerard is with us, and this is kind of exciting because we're going to start showing stuff now from Nowhere to Hide.
Right. This is probably one of the most exciting times as a gamer is when a new set's coming out, and you're clicking refresh on the website every day as a player. You're hoping to get that new tidbit of information that comes up.
Yeah, and we kind of alter when things go up anyway, so we make people sit and wait a little bit. Now, we're going to kind of do something we haven't really done before. We're going to talk about a card that is our big reveal today. All right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'll give you the address for the big reveal first, and then we'll talk about the card. All right? Here is the website for that. It's warstcg.fanhq.com/articles/article.aspx !ID equals 556. The name of the card is the Z-Racer. Now, Mike, let's talk about this card. First of all, what faction does this fall in?
Well, this comes from the Earth faction, and it's a fighter from the Z Labs, which I believe are located on Venus.
Yeah, they're kind of the shady, kind of the guys that are doing they're like the Area 51 of the Earthers.
Interesting. I'm not a big story guy myself, but this is kind of intriguing the more I hear about this.
They're the guys that are doing the top secret technology. They're guys that are doing... And in fact, there's some really cool Z Labs technology in this set. So, but Z-Racer is one of them. Now, when you first told me about this card, you used a word that doesn't exist in this game.
Right.
But former players of the SWCCG license know exactly what the word react means.
Oh, of course.
All right, so tell us about this.
Well, this is Eraser. Like I told you, it's an Earth ship. It has an energy cost of 3, and it costs 1 Earth support icon. It has a destiny of 3. The lore says, make sure some of the racers are on station in the rift. I'm sorry, in the belt. We might need them to throw some light.
Speaking of light, we have to apologize. We have no light in our studio today.
Yeah, it's kind of weird in here.
They took the light bulbs out for some reason. So, all right, game text. Now, this is where a lot of people will just sit back and go, oh my gosh.
Right. This says, you may play the ship at full cost to a sector where a battle is taking place. Anytime you could play an interrupt. If you do, lose 1 energy.
Okay, so if we're drafting and I see that card, that's a pick.
Right. This is pretty much up there in my book, right alongside the Type 2 fighter.
What's the rarity of this card? Can you see that?
Can you believe this? It's a common.
Oh my gosh.
And it's not unique, so I can play 4 of these.
Wow.
I mean,
So, all right, so here's the game situation. You throw out a ship that is Tactics 1. Maybe you do it, early, just try to establish. If you want to play multiples, yeah. All right, let's say you throw a Tactics 2 ship down. And you leave it there, and then your opponent comes next turn, drops a bunch of stuff, and thinks he's going to nail you, or maybe doesn't drop a lot of stuff.
Right, just enough where he thinks he's going to cause enough...
he's going to draw Destiny.
Right, enough casualties.
And you got one of these things in your hand, and just boom.
Right, this thing is Power 3, Tactics 2, and Defense 4.
Wow.
So it's a really surprise factor. I mean, you can drop 1 or 2 of these in a turn and really turn the tides in that battle.
Unbelievable. All right. So, and you can pilot it, of course. I mean,
on top of that, it has capacity too. Not many ships, not many of the fighters have that high of capacity.
Right. So actually, it's good to play as that surprise react. Again, we use that word that doesn't exist from your hand. But you can also then, once it's in play, load up a couple of pilots on it and up the power or up the tactics. And
exactly. It has quite the staying power.
Unbelievable. Okay, that's nice. So that's your big reveal for today, folks. Another card that has been revealed, which is also very cool, and this was done through Tom Lischke's Design Diary, which has been jump-started again with Nowhere to Hide coming out again in 50 days. This is a card that was released this week in the Design Diary. Tell us about this one, Mike.
Oh, the Joker Danico. This is... What can I say about this card? I mean,
it's an expensive card, first of all.
It is expensive, but it has some staying power. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a lot of the players were concerned that there wasn't really a lot of staying power in the first set. Like, you could play a couple of the guys, and maybe they couldn't stick around as long as maybe some of the cards in the old game. But this one is only a 3 cost. It's got 3 energy icons, but it's got 4 power, 4 tactics, and 5 defense.
Yikes.
I mean, that's great. I mean, it's great stats for something that you want to keep on the ground. Plus, as long as there's a weapon beneath this character, she's immune, and each of your drains are +1. A lot of the players were concerned as well about in the first set there wasn't a lot of like really high drain potential locations, except for the one big drop and drain that the Mavericks were running.
Right.
But this has a potential to help you hold many sites and still be able to do enough damage where you can justify using this many ground units. Right
now, obviously, this is a unique character, so you're not going to see more than one of these out on the table at a time.
Right, but you don't have to necessarily hold down just that one site to get that enormous drain. This can spread to 2 or 3 sites using this character, using some of the other big fighters from the Maverick culture.
Sure. And also, what we should point out, too, is this is a Destiny 2. So it's the kind of thing that, you suffer a little bit in Destiny cost. Don't you say whatever to me. You suffer a little bit in Destiny cost for getting a good card, though.
But still, I mean, Destiny... Anything more than Destiny 1 is more than they were in the old game.
Sure, that's true, because we don't have the partial immunity to attrition. All right.
We don't have any of those legacy costing things that where all the main characters had to be Destiny 1.
Nope, good stuff. All right, let's talk about the set in general. What do you think so far? I mean, we have the whole spoiler of Nowhere to Hide sitting in front of us right now. Isn't it great to be who we are?
We could just read it all off, but then...
Should we do that?
Where would the fun of that be?
I mean, can't do that. Okay. What do you like in this set? What's good in this set?
There's a lot of interesting cards in this set. I was really excited when reading it. I mean... There's a lot of cards that you can really wrap your head around, like build strategies around. Mm-hmm. I mean, from the new Nobot that the Ganjins get to a couple of the new fighters that the Quay and the Earth get.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's going to really shake up some of the deck designs that the players are currently running.
One of the things I heard a lot on the tour and talking to people about Wars that were former Star Wars players, they're like, there's a lot more incentive to use weapons now. You guys keep...
Tons more.
And in fact, one guy said to me, he says, you guys make all these cards that require you to play weapons. Why are you doing that? I'm like, because we want you to play weapons. That's why. Tell us about Quick Draw.
Quick draw is a new mechanic. Actually, Joker has quick draw as well. She has a quick draw 1. You add a uniqueness dot to each activated ability on a weapon beneath this character that already has one. So basically, if you have a weapon beneath this character that can only fire once, now it can fire twice in a fight. So, I mean, if you get one of those Vitarmas that can just destroy a character,
right?
You can just really clean up a site easily.
Nice. So it'll be on the characters, like weapons with quick draw.
No, it'll be on the characters, and it'll reference the weapons that are beneath it.
Is every faction going to kind of get some of this, or is it kind of being pulled off to one faction or another? No. We know the Mavericks have it for sure.
Right. They'll be quick draw on pretty much all the factions.
All right, and we do know that there's inverters in Nowhere to Hide, or at least Nowhere to Hide will bring up the number of inverters to all factions. By the time this set's done, everybody has an inverting unit.
Right. Well, not just necessarily units per se.
Little hint there, folks. Write that down and figure out what that means. Okay, so we're 50 days away from Nowhere to Hide. Anything else you want to say about this? While we have the ears of the world ahead of us.
I mean, what can I say? I mean, this set looks really, really excited. I mean, I can't wait to build decks and play with people. Okay, sounds good. Once again, thank you, Mike Gerard, Decipher game designer, for bringing in some spoilers, and we'll see if we can sneak in here before Nowhere to Hide comes out. Don't forget, folks, Nowhere to Hide, January 7th. We've moved our release date from Wednesdays to Fridays now. So all Decipher releases are on Friday. Originally, we had said Nowhere to Hide was January 5th. That is now January 7th. In keeping up with all those Friday release dates. Mike, thanks for joining us once again for Decipher Wars Radio. All right, sounds good. Now, moving along, no email of the week. We've been away for a couple of weeks, so we need to fill up the email bin just a little bit. So if you have something you'd like to say to us, email us, wars.decipher.com. Now, next week, we will post Wars Radio on Wednesday due to the Thanksgiving holiday here in the U.S., so you'll get it Wednesday afternoon, a brand new show, and I think next week we are going to talk to Trevor McGregor about Wars tournament play. He's been whining to be on the show. People are starting to line up wanting to be on Wars Radio. Hey, well, it's really popular. I mean, now that I've been on more than Arthur Wright, so I can hold that in his face.
All right, folks, send your comments, suggestions, or feedback to me right here, wars.radio@decipher.com. Have yourselves a great week. We will talk to you next week.
Signal verification is complete.